Hello, welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about how to actually stop caring what other people think of you. The first thing to get out of the way is you need to accept that other people will view you differently. Now, this is not probably going to take a lot of effort. You probably already act differently around different groups of people. You may be a different person around your grandparents or your parents than you are just when you're hanging out with your friends. These people have different perceptions of who you are. So everyone has a different idea of you. And I think this is pretty normal. But the problem arises when you start worrying about what other people are thinking about the decisions you make or about the kind of person you want to be, and you start thinking more about what they're gonna think than focusing on you and what you want to do. And I find it freaks me out a bit because I have really random events in my memory, you know, from like 10 years ago at school. I can remember this random interaction with this person just like in passing in the corridor, or something I was laughing about with my friends on like a random Tuesday, and I can remember it so specifically, and I'm like, how many instances like this exist in other people's minds? Like, how many other random memories do all of these people have of me, and what are they thinking about that? And it can get a bit overwhelming thinking about all of this other stuff. The first thing to get out of the way is accept that other people will have different opinions of you, and sometimes they will have the wrong impression of you. There's really nothing you can do about it. This is really hard to accept, and it's definitely a process, but that's the most important thing when we are going into this whole how to stop caring what people think. There's gonna be good and bad opinions of you out there in the world. Really, it's none of your business. You just have to focus on being you, which we will now get into how to do that. There is freedom that comes from surrendering to the fact that everyone's gonna have a different impression of you and being like, it's fine. It also gives you space to change. Other people will go off your past behavior. For me, my past behavior has not been great. I'm in recovery from addiction, so there is a lot of stuff that people can judge me on based on my past behavior, but that gives me a lot of freedom because I can now create, every time I have an interaction with someone, I can create a new impression of myself in sobriety. I'm not saying change for other people and change because you're worried about their opinions of you. Like, this is about stopping caring what people think of you. But if there are instances where people have made a judgment about you for a specific reason and it's a valid judgment, maybe you can change. Maybe you care so much about what other people think because you're worried that they actually might have a point. Maybe you get upset that someone thinks you're too clingy, or you get jealous easily, you overreact, or you're really moody and you get annoyed when other people bring this up. Maybe the reason for that is that you secretly think the same thing about yourself, and them highlighting it is making you feel bad about yourself. These things, although they're difficult to deal with, they can actually be bringing attention to the fact that these are things that you could possibly change. So I'm not saying change based off of other people's opinions, but if there is a particular thing that's bothering you about other people's opinions of you and it keeps coming up, this one thing, that can be something to think about, because they might have a point and you might care so much about what they think because you're like, maybe I do need to change this aspect of my behaviour, or maybe I do need to address this overreaction or address this problem. But don't change solely for other people to like you. Change for you. Only if those other people who have these opinions of you have a point. Don't change otherwise. You are amazing as you are. Another thing that helps me in terms of letting go of what people think is, say, as we just discussed, you did change. Would this person then like you? And what I mean by this is that some people are just going to hate you no matter what. Like, they will always have a reason for you having done something wrong. Like, either people you know, but especially strangers, some people are just looking to tear other people down and to make judgments and have all these opinions about them. You do not need to care about that because they are not actually interested in you as a person and interested in you changing. They just want to pick things apart. If something is holding you back because you're worried about what other people are thinking, if you actually changed, would this change the way the person saw you? If the answer is no, it doesn't matter. Let me give an example. For example, think of like a goal you're trying to achieve. So like, I'm enjoying making YouTube videos. I want to carry on making YouTube videos. If someone, and I'm sure many people do, someone has a bad opinion of my channel and they tell me that, is that going to change my opinion of what I'm doing? Is that going to make me change my behavior if someone's like, hey, I don't like your videos, or whatever opinion they might have, whatever they think of me? Is that going to change what I'm doing? The answer is no. So instead of getting invested in other people's opinions, I'm just going to focus on what I'm doing. Is this person's opinion going to stop me from creating videos? No. So I'm going to keep going and I don't have to listen to that noise. So the same way, if someone has an opinion about what you're doing, you're saying, actually, I want to do this random thing with my career that's kind of come out of nowhere, but I want to explore that, or take time off and go traveling, or I want to do something unusual, like breaking the mold of what you're expected to do within your family or within your friendship group. You're going to do something different and you're worried about what people will think. Even if you did what they want, would that make you happy? And even if they are going to tell you, don't do this because it's the wrong thing to do, is that going to change what you're going to do? And if the answer is no and you're going to do the thing anyway, you need to let go of their opinion because it's not having any impact on you and you don't need to care about that. You can just follow what you feel like is right for you to do. This brings us on to do what you love. If people are going to have opinions of you, no matter what you're doing, which they are, they will always have an opinion. So there is someone who will always have something bad to say. They will always be a voice of doubt, or they'll be bringing you down, or they'll be thinking that you're not good enough. If they're always going to have something to say, no matter what you do, even if you say, fine, I'll do it your way, I'll change, I'll do this, I'll do what's expected of me, whatever, even if you do, they are still going to find a way to bring you down and be like, that's not good enough, or you didn't do that right. So you may as well do what you love, because these people, they're always going to pick at you anyway. They're always going to have something negative to say. You can't please these people. So instead, follow your own heart. I know it sounds cheesy, but do what you love. Stop paying attention to all of these other people. And instead, learn to express yourself. Learn to work out what you want to do with your career or with your spare time or with your relationships. Focus on yourself. What do you like doing? What hobbies do you want to cultivate? What books do you want to read? Like, what kind of person do you want to be? In a year's time, what habits can you put in place to be closer to like your ideal version of yourself, whatever that looks like? Stop caring what these people all think and start putting all of that focus on yourself. Because when you stop listening to all of these competing opinions, so much space opens up that you can start focusing on you. And all of these people, if they're out there judging every single person and what they're doing, they're not focusing on themselves, which means they're more unhappy. So it's then like a vicious circle of them not fulfilling their own dreams, not doing what they love, and instead they've got to drag down everyone else. If you are focused on yourself, on being a better friend, on being a better person, on trying to help people, find out what your purpose is, just pursue the things you love doing. If you are busy doing that, I promise you, you will not pay attention to what anyone else is thinking. You will stop caring about what other people think of you because you'll be so focused on what your mission is or what your purpose is or whatever it is that you're exploring, whether you want to read really widely or read about psychology, if you want to start learning about like neuroscience, if you want to start getting into like camping or hiking, if you want to get into makeup, if you want to learn how to code, whatever it is. Just get so focused on yourself that you really don't have time to pay attention to what other people are thinking of you. That, I think, is really like a way to go with it, because you're just so focused on you then. You're like, I don't care. I literally don't have time to care about what you think. Another thing to bear in mind is you only live once. YOLO. YOLO. That's a dumb way to phrase it, but like it is true. If you're a spiritual person, you might believe in like reincarnation or different like past lives. Even if that's true, we're not remembering them like consciously. I know you can do like past life regression or whatever, but like at this moment, you can only remember this life you've had here. So regardless of if all of those possibilities exist, you are here now. This is your life. Do what you want. Stop caring what people think. Similarly, if you are someone who believes in life after death or eternal life, that's great and that might be real, but that will be on a different spiritual plane of existence, and we will not have like the same physical form that we have now if you believe in that. Even if you're like, oh, we only live once, but yeah, there's something else. Yes, but you're still here now and in this body, in this form, at this particular moment in time, whatever time it is with you. This is you now. When you zoom out a bit and stop getting caught up in the little details and stop worrying and like being super aware of what other people think of you, if you zoom out and try and have that like wider perspective, you can be like, oh yeah, it really doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to get caught up in what this person thinks of me. I can just try and do what I love and work out what I want to do with my life, because this is my life, because you're here now, which leads me on to my next point, which is don't hold back. The world needs you to express yourself. If caring what other people think of you is holding you back, you really need to let it go, because the world needs your perspective. Your friends need your sense of humour or your view on life. The people you live with need your positivity or your thoughtfulness, your culinary skills. I don't know, like, If you're getting caught up in what other people think of you and you're not focusing on yourself now and on the people around you, the world is missing out on all of the things that you have to offer, and you have so much to offer. So stop thinking about all of these people who are judging you or who are thinking badly of you, and start focusing on you, the people around you, what you can do to help, and bringing your passion, your vision, your creativity, whatever it is, bring that to life, because the world needs your perspective and the world needs you to be you. You are the only you there is. Be yourself. It's time for the world to see you for who you are. Please don't let other people's opinions stop you from showing up as yourself. You will find people who love you for you. Which leads me on to the next point, which is once you stop caring what people think of you, it leaves space for people who actually care to enter your life. So once you stop bothering about these people's opinions and stop caring what these people think of you, all of that energy, all of that space can then be devoted to allowing people into your life who do care about you and who are interested in what your dreams are, what you want to achieve. They're not going to judge you for it. They're there with you and they just want to support you. Because once you legitimately stop caring and start showing up as yourself, it will become very, very clear who in your life is on your side and just wants to see you be your best self, and who is there to judge you and who was only there for the version of you that you were before and is not interested in seeing you grow and evolve and step into who you really are. It will become very clear once you stop caring and you're just like, I'm gonna be me now. It will be obvious. The people who are there for you, who just want to see you succeed, they will be there. But it will also highlight the people who don't want to support you. And then you can know which relationships to prioritize and where you have space for new people to enter your life. So you can strengthen your current connections by being more yourself and stopping caring what people think of you, and it will make those connections also more meaningful because you'll be showing up as your authentic self, because you don't care what other people think and you're instead focusing on who you are, who you want to be, how you want to show up. And yes, as we said, new connections. So I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, and I've made so many new friends in recovery just by being really honest about who I am and kind of trying to make the best of that and stepping into that, because I'm like, well, you know what, I know for a lot of people an addict or an alcoholic, that's a bad label. People look down on that. I know people have all sorts of judgments about it, about even using that word, but I'm like, I do not care what other people think. I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how to deal with this now. I'm just gonna step into that and be me. And as I said, I have met plenty of other people with the same outlook, the same perspective, who just wanna be better now and show up for themselves and make amends and be kind to people. Like attracts like, basically. Once you stop caring what other people think, you will then find other people who are the same, and that will result in a really authentic, meaningful friendship and meaningful connection. Another thing to remember when stopping caring what other people think is realize that other people have problems too. So we all have things wrong, we've all made mistakes. These are kind of obvious things, but once you stop caring what other people think, you're not judging anyone else, because you know other people, as we said at the beginning, you've accepted that other people are going to have different opinions of you, they're going to have a different perspective of you or a different perception of you. You've accepted that, you're not really bothered about that. You're focused on yourself, so you're not going to be so judgmental of other people either. You're just going to be seeing them the same way that you see yourself, as a flawed person who is hopefully trying to be better, trying to do better, trying to be kind and strengthen their current relationships. And if at this point, instead of having that perspective of we've all made mistakes, we've all done things wrong, I'm not judging them, they're not judging me, and even if they are, I don't care. If instead you're having this perspective of like looking down on people because you're like, oh, I'm so unattached, or I'm so like, I don't care what people think anymore, and like you need to get on my level because I'm just like above you now. I think if you have that kind of attitude, that can be a bit of a wake-up call for you as well, because if you're judging other people for caring or for not being able to detach in the way that you think that you have, maybe the reason that you care so much about what other people thought of you in the first place is that you are a bit judgmental yourself. And I've put this towards the end of the video because I really hope that you're with me now and you can see that I'm coming from a place of like, I just want you to be better and like step into your true self. I'm not saying this to like be mean or be harsh, but I think it can be the case sometimes that if you care too much about what other people think of you, it might be because you yourself have a lot of opinions about what other people are doing in their life, and so because you are being judgmental of them, you are assuming that they are going to have all these opinions about you as well. I remember having a conversation about this with my friend a few years ago, and she was like, when I was a teenager, I was so judgmental of everyone because I hadn't been through a lot of stuff yet. So it was easy for me to sit there and be like, why did this person do that? Oh my gosh, I would never do that. Like, how could they have made that choice? That was so silly. Like, why did they think that this would happen? Why didn't they think this through? Like, it was very easy, she said, to sit back and judge people because she hadn't been through a lot of experiences. Whereas, as we were talking about this in this conversation, she was like, whereas now, that was then, she's like, whereas now, because I have found myself in similar situations and had to navigate them, I realised that I was being too harsh on everyone and judging everyone too much because I didn't realise what was going into all of those decisions and why these things were happening. So if you're so bothered by what other people think of you, it could be because you're judgmental of other people too. But when you have got to a point where you've made more mistakes, done things that you regret, like me with my addiction, there is so much. I don't think you will ever know. I don't think, I can never know, even no one will ever know the full extent of it, because there's the stuff that my family has seen, there's the stuff that other people have seen, there's the stuff that I can't remember but other people can, but they've not told me about. There is so much bad stuff there, and I can't do anything about that now, and I have to stop torturing myself about it. I have to stop caring about the opinions that other people have of me based on those past interactions, because I am not that person anymore. But I think that if you are struggling with feeling overwhelmed by other people's opinions, or feeling like so many people have all these opinions, it is worth reflecting, what are the opinions that I have about other people? Is the reason that I'm so worried about other people thinking badly of me, and is the reason that I want to stop caring what other people think of me, is that reason because I myself am very judgmental of other people and I have all of these opinions about other people? That can be something that I will leave with you to reflect on, because that can be the case. It can be the case. It's so easy to look at someone else's situation and look down on them, or think that they've made the wrong choice, or think that they were so silly to act like that. Why would they do that? But unless you've actually been in that situation, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. And that can help you stop caring what other people think if you start dialing back on the judgment and start instead trying to be more understanding, more compassionate. I'm not saying that you have to go through bad things, because it's sounding like I'm saying, oh, now that I'm in recovery, I understand, everyone goes through all this stuff. I knew this before. And I don't think you have to go through bad things to get insight. I know people can learn lessons from the bad things that happen to them, but I don't think it's necessarily obligatory for you to go through horrible things in order to learn all these big life lessons. I think that's like the struggling artist thing, I have to suffer for my art. I'm like, do you though? I know, that's a whole other video. If you're going to take anything away from this video, it's to focus on you, focus on meaningful connections, stop letting other people's opinions cloud what you think you need to do. This is really hard stuff, but I am proud of you if you've got to the end of this video and listened to all of these tips, because it shows that you're really willing to try and detach, to try and stop caring what people think of you. And it can be done, and it is a process. It's definitely possible, and it's really freeing. It really just opens out a new level of life, because you're suddenly like, oh, I don't have to care. It's so freeing. And I'm gonna do a whole other video about how to stop taking life so seriously, where I will go more in depth about how freeing it is. But in the meantime, if you would like to watch another video from me, I will leave my How to Enter Your Unbothered Era on the screen for you to watch, because that video also deals with how to stop caring what other people think of you. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please, I would love to also hear your thoughts in the comments below, so please do leave a comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more from me. God bless, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.